Oh, welcome to the Friday night recap. We're back for regional final action. I'm in some dark, dingy hotel again in Waco, but the boys are back at their own houses. That's Professor Dig. That's Kenny, my main man, Kenny Matthews. We all got to be out in the elements except for one of us, Kenny. Kenny always picking them star games, isn't he, Diggs? I don't believe it.
He
But
he is he is the smart one at the end of the
he is.
day.
That is
For
true. His feet aren't frozen solid like mine are, so he knows best. What did y'all think about the regional finals, man? Because we're about ready to give you some scores. Some things that we didn't expect to happen happened. And Diggs, I think you took a beating, didn't you, on your little picks?
I feel like I mean I had to go through this meeting on my way home. All the game day production were like, I think we might have to cancel the warm up after that. I
Move
think
Kitty
five
in
of
and move
my
you out.
six. Yeah, get Kenny in there about that. But the one thing I do look good. Let's see here. I got my Peaster Greyhounds T-shirt
Oh, where'd that come from?
that they gave me today. So
Nice.
we got that going on. For love from Peaster and Peaster. I was told I need to start out with an apology. I should put myself like, can you just put me on the screen where I can just look at the screen and give an apology?
I can try to.
There
There
we
it is.
go. I, Matthew Diggs, Professor Diggs, as some of you may call me, would like to apologize to all of the Collin County schools. Allen, Melissa, Salina. I don't know if Frisco Lone Star is officially in Collin County, but it's close enough. For doubting you, for doubting all of you, all of my friends up here. You all proved me wrong. I would like to personally extend my apology to all of your defenses, all of your offenses, quarterbacks. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Well, that's a nice way to do it, Diggs. I appreciate it.
You're a
But
good man.
we'll
You're
have
a
to
good
wait and
man.
see if they forgive you. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they will. But some people like your shirt, though.
Eh,
It's pretty good, man.
There you go.
Well, you get yourself one. Peace.
I
Peace.
like
Let's take a look at some scores. What do you think, Diggs?
I
Throw
think
them
we
up
can.
there.
I think we can do that, but we won't go backwards. We'll go forward right
Let's
here.
go forward. Let's start from 6A Division One. Let's start there. We got a game tomorrow, but the big one up at UNT was Allen over North Crowley, 33-21. Great game for Carter Harris, 4 catches, 127 yards, and Jeremiah Dowd from the highlights I looked at. He I mean, I'm not going to do like Diggs and say he listened to me and he let it go, but he did ask. He acted like your boy in that Frozen movie, man. He let it go. He let it go. And I ain't singing it to you, but he gunned it down there. He took his chances and he got big plays there. And they even turned the ball over 3 times and it didn't even phase him.
Yeah, I feel like that was still more about the defense because you said Dow did threw 2 interceptions. He got timely plays, and that's what you got to do in this part of the playoffs is you got to make timely plays. And when we talk about Melissa and Argyle, they certainly Melissa's defense was a bend but don't break. But give Allen's defense credit. North Crowley marched down the field the very first drive and put up a touchdown, and they struggled after that to get anything going. Allen's defense was just all in the backfield all day. And this is a really good offensive line of North
yes.
Crowley, and Allen's defensive line just blitzed them over and over and over again. I underestimated Allen's defense because they were the story of this game. Jeremiah Dowd was able to do enough, made critical plays, but hey, credit to Allen's defense. I was wrong about them.
My guy LeBron.
We don't want you doubting him again, man. Do not doubt them again. We ain't LeBron. It's only Diggsy that doubts you.
They also had 13 penalties this game and were able to overcome 3 turnovers and 13 penalties and held them to 314 yards of offense. That's pretty impressive against a very, like Diggs said, a very talented offensive line too.
And those of us that went to the Allen Louisville game, we saw it there too. That defense, it's going to have to outplay. It's going to have to be 70% defense, 30% offense. And when it's like that, it's like that.
Yeah. I mean, given how this game flowed, I mean, it was 28-7 at one point. Allen was I don't think there was ever really a doubt after about the first 8 to 10 minutes that Allen was the dominant team in this game. And they cruised to a victory. There were a couple of North Crowley got an onside kick after a safety, to where you had a little bit of reasonable doubt, but Allen just in the driver's seat took care of business. And now they have made it to the as James Harris mentioned, to the first time to the semi since 2018. Feels like Old times again with Allen back in
Kind
the.
of hard to believe, isn't it?
That Carter kid, though, man, have you seen how average catch he gets? It's like 27 or 28 yards per catch. I mean, so he had 127 tonight. So he adds to the total. You know?
He makes big plays.
Now let's let Houston Ward have a little bit of time here with. Were you surprised at North Shore over Dickinson? The point value, I know a lot of people said if this was going to be Dickinson's year, it had to be right now.
Yeah. Wasn't surprised that North Shore would win, but yeah, they kind of had command of that game all the way to halftime and then beyond. So that's like James said, that score's not nearly as close as it wasn't nearly as close as the score indicated. North Shore's coming. I mean, some people want to throw dirt on them when they lost to South Oak Cliff, but they're right back where they need to be. They got Lake Travis, as Ant-Man said, next week, 3:00 at Thorne Stadium down there, and I'm thinking North Shore is going to make it on through to the state final, see who they get there again. Could it be North Shore and Duncanville yet again? Well, Duncanville's got we got a revenge match they got to get through tomorrow, and then they're going to have to take on that Allen team that's been itching to get back.
Give me a memory test. Did we have a North Shore Allen game like in 2018, 2015, something like that?
Not the state title game, I don't think.
Not state title?
Not state title.
North Shore only plays Duncanville. That's the only team they like to play.
And they played an Austin team, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, NRG?
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a look at Division II, which we don't have much of anything except for CE King, which Diggsy thinks is from CEISD. It's not how it works, Diggs.
Right there, CEISD. It's right there in the Houston, greater Houston area. The great CEISD.
I have to give Ward credit, though. He's had me on that district and those guys from week one, and boy, it did live up to the billing tonight, though. Between CE King, that
was a big way. I haven't got a chance to. Those highlights just came in before we got on the show here, so I've got to see what happened in that one. I know that it was a 7-3 game at halftime, and then CE King took over and got the 3-point win. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. Everything else kind of happens tomorrow. Dripping Springs, believe it or not, is probably the favorite in a game against Austin Vandergrift. And then you got South Lake Geyer and DeSoto Willis. South Lake and DeSoto seem like bigger favorites in these games.
You got the offense against the defense in South Lake Carroll and Denton Geyer. So who wins in that one? That should be interesting. But Geyer can run the football.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because when you look at these games that were kind of offense versus defense in a way, look at some very, very surprising scores here. And I have to go ahead and just, again, have my apology tour. And Kenny can kind of fill in with what he saw with his eyes there. But I said very, very triumphantly, the way to beat Frisco Lone Star was to isolate Trey Wright, make him beat you, and think good things would happen. Well, apparently the good things were for Trey Wright, who had 653 all-purpose yards, 477 through the air, 170 through the running. Just an absolute masterclass by Trey Wright to slap me around and show me up. And Kenny, what did you see when you were there? Because that, again, you said you had a hard time tagging everybody with just that up and down track meet.
Well, the thing that impressed me the most was that they attacked Highland Park on the perimeters in the first half, and that loosened things up. And they came out in the second half and just basically ran the football. They did the quarterback draws. They did the rollouts with Trey. And, I mean, they absolutely just chewed the clock up, which is, Lone Star is an explosive team. They get explosive TDs all the time. Put their defense out there a little bit. They kind of, say, hey, we're scoring 2 plays and put them back out there. They didn't do that. I thought Coach Gilly, the offensive coordinator for Lone Star, if he didn't pitch a perfect game today, he just gave up 1 walk. That was an extreme, very impressive game plan that they had there today. And, I mean, the Scotties, they did not even call timeouts when they had timeouts in the fourth. They were just ready to get out of there. I think that the running the football and getting gashed as much as they did tonight, they couldn't get on those buses to get back to Highland Park quick enough tonight.
We talk about turnovers, and Highland Park had 3 turnovers.
Buck Randall had his usual numbers at passing yards, but those 3 turnovers.
The donut.
I thought it was really key for them is that it was third down. Once it got to 13 there in the fourth quarter, about 5 minutes left in the game. It was 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, somewhere in there. a big pass from Trey White to Fabish that got the first down. That pretty much sealed it for them. And then they were able to put in the last TD. But I think we said something off camera here. 19 yards for Carice Hoyt, but 4 TDs.
For 4 TDs. They know when to give it to them. They know exactly when to give it. Jigsy and I talked about this on the podcast over and over again with the Lido Denton Ryan game. Whoever wins in the trenches, well, if you look at the stat line, you see Denton Ryan 26 yards rushing on 29 carries. I think we know who won in the trenches in that game. And Lincoln Tubbs with 4 touchdowns. They just dominated that game. I didn't expect domination like that, and it was complete domination. I know the big stat was they hadn't beaten Ryan. Well, now they have, so we can throw that one in the trash.
And all of these neat stats that we've had this year with Longview, DeSoto, Aledo, Denton, Ryan just taking care of business. I had a chance to actually watch a little bit of this game because Nolan had it on right next to when we were watching Peaster in Paradise, and Aledo was just bullying them. I mean, it was just pushing 8 to 10 yards at a time. Lincoln Tubbs was phenomenal, and that's really the difference between the first time and the second time is now they've got their quarterback. Lincoln Tubbs was incredible, the offensive line, and then Denton Ryan scores were primarily in garbage time. I mean, Denton it was 33-3 going into halftime, and Aledo just and now we get the quintessential. We talk about offense versus defense. Aledo versus Lone Star is the quintessential offense versus defense sort of a game. And a kind of an early spoiler, I think Aledo is just that dominant this year. I mean, kind of see what they did against Denton Ryan when it comes to that. They're just playing fantastic football. And again, Smithson Valley is just kind of waiting there against Smithson Valley, Aledo 8 or whatever it is. I feel like they've been playing each other at AT&T for a while now. But it could be Lone Star Smithson Valley. You never know.
I was going to say, you're kind of passing over Lone Star pretty quick in that. I don't know if I can do that.
Mr. Caden Wingfield, not too bad with 137 yards and a TD also. I mean, I had 279 rushing yards tonight and also won the turnover battle 3-0.
That's true, and I think they were all fumbles too. So, all right, Melissa beats Argyle, missed field goal at the end. Bigger story is that Brett Holloway did have to sit out the first half, and so hats off to Drew Chappa, 5 for 5, 100 yards and a touchdown in the half he got to play. Holloway came in, started running all over the place, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the fact that they gave up, their kicker got 5 field goals, and then they missed the last one. Unfortunately, I was looking through Twitter, and these people were just coming at, "Oh, you'll never be able to live it down," this and that. I don't have time for that mess, man. I don't have any time for that mess at all. I blow right past it. People, instead of glorifying their own win, they got to tear somebody else down, which I think is ridiculous. Melissa moves on to play a SOC team that just shut down PNG. Well, they caused 2 turnovers. They held them to under 200 total yards rushing. The only bad thing in that game is, Diggs, I'm sure you caught it too because your eyesight always goes to it. 11 penalties for SOC. Clean that up. Clean that up, especially clean it up when you go to see Randall. Just before we got on this thing, I was looking at the Randall highlights. There's no reason. I mean, there's obvious reasons why Landon Williams-Callis is the Gatorade Player of the Year. That dude is incredible. And what he did against Iowa Colony is incredible. You get a little bit of space and he's gone.
So which Houston player is the player of the year? Is it the Jermaine Bishop or this guy? I mean, I keep hearing all these
waiting for
best
him next
players
year.
in the world.
He's just a junior, so I'll give him his due next week or next year.
The thing you have to really credit for Melissa, not only overcoming the adversity of not having Brett Holloway, but situational defense. Argyle had 400 yards in this game. Gasperson had 330 yards. He had a phenomenal day, no turnovers. But when they got in the red zone, it was those 4 for 4. It was the fact that their defense clamped down in the red zone. That was the big story. It wasn't great from the 20s. Argyle was able to move the ball. Julian Caldwell had a phenomenal night.
Another great Gasperson to Caldwell night, but they didn't get in the end zone for it.
Yeah, and when you get down in the red zone, and that's where Melissa's defense shined. That's when the shine was there, and that's why this game was low scoring because Argyle turns those into 7, and that's where it gets into these 42-20 kind of games that they've been in. But when you're settling for 3s in the 4th round of the playoffs, you're settling for L's. And Argyle, after losing to a team that did not even make the playoffs last year, Melissa comes back with a vengeance and wins the region and kind of redeems themselves from last year.
Absolutely. And we were looking. You had said beforehand you're looking forward to Sock Argyle. Well, you're going to look forward to it another time because it's not going to work.
And Melissa South Oak
That's a
Cliff,
heck
they
of a
have a little
coaching
bit of
job,
a
man.
rivalry. They've been playing each other the last couple of years too.
Yep.
So you're very familiar with each other, Melissa and Sock.
Absolutely.
I think an very underrated coach and Coach Nally over there at Melissa.
Yeah.
I think he goes under there a little too much. He's done a heck of a job over there.
Oh, absolutely. Even this season, we kind of shoved him under the radar for about 8 games.
Yep.
And then we kind of woke up a little bit when they beat Anna and kept on going there.
Now, we are a DFW show, but I know you have Houston obligations as well, Ward. So tell us a little bit about, for all of us South Oak Cliff fans, because in 5A Division II, I think South Oak Cliff is going to be a heady favorite over Melissa. Tell us a little bit about what Richmond Randall is, the resume this year.
And Randall's going to take care of Bernie, I feel, as well, as we saw from Ant-Man. They're playing that game at the Alamo Dome. The deal with Randall is obviously what Landon Williams-Callis. That's the first guy you talk about. If they're going to give him a Gatorade Player of the Year, that's what you talk about. 250 to 300 yards a game. You give him a little bit of hole when he's gone. But you're forgetting about a decent defense. Obviously, it didn't show it against Iowa Colony, but Noriel Pac-Man Dominguez. Kenny's going to love Pac-Man when they come up to the AT&T Stadium. TCU recruit. He's a man. He didn't get to play last year. He had to sit out because of a transfer rule, and he's ready to get a ring of his own. So that is an offense that's hard to stop. And Sock's offensive line is one that's hard to stop. Defensive line as well. It should be an interesting game, man. I think it's going to be just like it was last year. Down who makes the one big play? I mean, you don't remember Randall got a couple kick returns that were huge.
Yes.
You got to stop that special teams if you're Sock. Otherwise, that's going to be another one that they may not pull off.
I agree 100%. I think that last year that game was nothing about – it was the turnovers in that game, field position. I mean, I think that can be the exact same thing coming if they play with each other in 2 weeks.
It should be fun. How about this Stephenville blowout? Salina, they get another blowout win there. We kind of expected that thing kind of be 50-50, even with Bo Bentley playing and then getting hurt and not playing. They still handled it on the ground. Evan Keene with 117 yards. Luke Bonini, who's usually their defensive stalwart, had 122 and 3 touchdowns. 328 on the yard. So if you're not on the ground, if you're not going to throw it, you're going to have to run it. And Stephenville taking care of West Plains by 20. What did you think of that one, Kenny?
Stephenville, I had them winning it all, and I have them. They just keep rolling. I mean, they're kind of the forgotten people around here. Do we consider them Metroplex Diggs?
They're a Metroplex team in a Central Texas district.
Okay, all right. I wanted to ask the professor when we said that because,
Right.
But I mean, they just been rolling. The beat keeps bowling with them. I mean, they don't have a whole bunch of flare and glare. They just go out and just win football games, and I think that now we have the collision course maybe with Kilgore. Maybe
Those look like 4 powerhouse teams
Maybe.
there in 4A Division
Yes.
1. You can't say that with the last one where we saw Bernie in there and some other teams, but these are 4 powerhouse squads.
yes.
And I was actually about to mention when I was starting to get early first quarter updates, West Plains was up 14-0 and I think 21-7 at one point, and then Stephenville kind of rolled away in the second half. So they struggled. I mean, the score is probably a little bit misleading relative to the competitive nature, but Salina just a dominant. It's almost like they got better when Bentley left. It was like they were trying to kind of cater to him, let him kind of Willis Reed tough it out, and then once they he went out, they were like, okay, let's just lean on our offensive line. We got playmakers here, and let's do this thing. And they did great. And Stephenville Salina, I know Ward, you're talking about is Stephenville DFW team. I bet Ward will say they will be next week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We get later in the year, the more we go. I'm about ready to call Port Arthur Memorial a Houston team. That's the way we do it when teams get dropped out real quick. But yeah, Stephenville, you may see your boy Neil Beasley out at that tip. You don't know. You never know.
And then Kilgore, Fort Bend Crawford. Yeah, nice story, but just no chance against Kilgore. No. And then Lavernia, a big win over Davenport. So we've been talking about Stephenville Salina, and we are certainly going to get it. That West Plains mural, a little bit not needed over in Salina. You got to worry about Stephenville. I think early words will be. I think I'm going to take Stephenville. And I was getting halftime updates for this Brock and Midland Greenwood game. It was 14-15 at the half, and Brock kind of pulled away in the second half.
Yeah, Butters was throwing them up there 14-14 at the half, and then they pulled away. They're set up with another game with Carthage. That game was a whitewash last year with Carthage winning. Your thoughts on how that might be this time around, Kenny?
Well, our buddy Nolan seems to think that Brock has got the answer for him this year. I told him last week I do not see that. No, I think Mr. KJ Edwards and the crew will find a way to win that game. And what about West Orange Stock being back here and being a player here? You know, they've been kind of buried the last few years, but nice run by them.
Yeah, and they beat a good a favorite Waco La Vega. That was one of the favorites down in that end of the bracket there.
And the Gobblers from Cuero, I had them over Sinton, but Sinton took care of business. But, Carthage, when I believe they had at least in the first half 2 pick sixes against Athens. And we saw it, Kenny and I saw it when they played, who they played last week over there? Pleasant Grove, Texarkana Pleasant Grove. They had those turnovers. So if Carthage is able to convert, big plays into points on the other end, they're going to be a really hard team to beat. Brock's got to be able to play a clean game. I know it's cliche at this point in the year, but you can't give a team as talented as Carthage multiple opportunities with turnovers. So Brock Carthage will be great. West Orange, Stark, Sinton. Do you consider those Houston area teams? I think West Orange is probably too close to Beaumont.
No, none of those. We're not going to hit any of them four. And I know my man Ant-Man's throwing up West Orange, Stark, and Sinton at Katy. We ain't going to be there. Sorry, Ant-Man. We're not going to it. All right, some fantastic games here. Diggs is going to talk about the Peaster game. We'll let him talk about Peaster Paradise in a second. At Grandview Pottsboro, I went to the Gunner game at Melissa, and up in the press box, the Texoma crew was there's like 3 or 4 Texoma guys up there, and they're like, "Hey, if you want to play this game, we got Grandview who lost to Malakoff and Whitney, and Pottsboro beat both of them. So I think we're going to be all right tomorrow when Pottsboro plays Grandview. I think we got that one, and it didn't work out for them. The Zebras are moving on to play Peaster. Tell us about that game, Dixie.
Yeah, talk about a phenomenal game. The Peaster Paradise game was game of the year for me, at least top 3. I'll have to kind of reflect on that. And it was the ending it was 10-7 going into halftime, basically no scores in the third quarter. And then Paradise with that drive, because when you're a championship team, you got to have those fourth quarter drives. 3rd and 19, Paradise was able to get a 25-yard touchdown to go up 14-10 at that point. And then Peaster went 3 and out. So Paradise is driving just to milk clock and win the game. Peaster got a stop late, and they had to punt. And then Paradise, first down and second down, got pivotal sacks on Peaster. So now it is 3rd down and 20 at their own 8-yard line. And I don't know if Peaster had 92 total yards of offense for the game at that point. I think if we had the game cast up, it would be like a 98% Paradise likely to win the game when it's 3rd and 20 at your own 8. Peaster able to get 19 yards on 3rd down to make it 4th and 1. They convert, and then the very next play, Cade McCullough, 70-yard play over, just a amazing play to get down to the 4-yard line. They got down to the 1-yard line, and with 16 seconds left, they knocked it in for the Peaster Greyhounds right here. There we go.
And you gave us that final at like 9:15, it seemed like.
9:15.
And you predicted a quick game.
Incredible game. I feel like there are some people who are talking about Grandview being a favorite over it. Peaster is the clear favorite in this game. They know how to play defense. I give Grandview all the props in the world for shutting down Pottsboro. That game was like 18-6 at one point. Grandview just shut them down. They made the adjustments and won the second half, and that's what you got to do. But again, Peaster should be a big favorite to go to the state championship game. But the team I thought we were going to see there, Columbus.
Yeah, Columbus had 2 touchdowns called back, which was brutal for them. But yeah, as my man Robert here says, the rematches didn't turn out the way they were in the regular season, and that's one of them. And then I was just taking a look at the Edna and Lano highlights, and that was a magnificent game. They said Lano scored late in that one and got a big pick late, knocking out both Houston teams, or who I'm claiming is Houston. Columbus and Edna both out of it. So don't bother telling me where the Yoakum Lano game's going to be, because I ain't going. Ain't nobody. I'm not going to that one. But I may go to Peaster Grandview. So if you want to throw that one up there, I'd like to know where that's going to be. Maybe you should have asked somebody, Diggs, when you were on the sidelines. Or were you too cold? You run to get some hot chocolate?
I have heard it's going to be Thursday. So
all right. That's already better. That's already great news.
But
Me and Kenny will be there. Where's
That's
that?
right. We need a Thursday game, Lord.
one of the
Could be
things that I
Fort Worth.
love is that we're going to see new teams. It looks like new
Yeah.
teams at AT&T Stadium,
Yeah,
regardless
look at
of
those
these.
four. Look
Yes.
at those four. It's going to be somebody new.
Yep.
We saw the Zebras a couple years ago, but yeah, it's going to be something new. How about, listen, I'm going to talk about this bottom half here because Tidehaven beat East Bernard 58-6 earlier this year, and the tables turned. They did one of these joints. Swoop. They switched it around, and East Bernard comes out with a humongous win. They're taking on Newton, but I was at the Gunner game along with Kenny. I didn't see him for a while because he stayed on the other sideline trying to stay away from me. We're supposed to be boys. Gunner took care of business. They were up 45-0, I think. I don't know. And we
45-0.
predicted the Gunner Wall matchup, and I have a feeling you guys think whoever wins that one, who's probably going to be Wall, is walking to get them rings.
Yeah.
But when you have a team like Gunner, you can never underestimate the heart of a champion. I think we keep seeing that week in and week out with some of these teams. Even Bernie is a team who has been, I think they played a couple of years ago for the state title. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
No, last year they played Randall in the same semifinal, but go ahead.
But yeah, 2 years ago. I mean, so these are teams when you have been there and that culture is ingrained, and Gunner is an ultimate culture team. I mean, this is a team that I'm watching them. I'm like, oh, they look smaller than before. They don't have quite the size that they have. All they do is just execute flawlessly, 45-14 over Leonard, and Wall Gunner just signed me up for that game. I'm excited about that. New East Bernard is just the second fiddle for Wall Gunner, which is kind of our de facto state championship. Gonna be fun. Probably an Abilene game, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that was in Abilene last year, wasn't it, Kenny? You don't remember? You remember?
I think it was an Abilene. I think it was an Abilene
Yeah.
Christian, if I remember right.
Yep. All right, 2A Division I. You can run through these joints because I don't think we have any Houston or DFW teams.
Well, Hamilton is a team that we've been talking about. I thought that they would do well. They took care of Axtell 24-3. Stinnett, West Texas. I keep picking against them, and they're more than happy to keep giving me losses. I thought Cisco, with having that culture, would take care of business 48-20. And what about Joaquin? Playoff Joaquin is kind of like playoff tomball at this point because all they do is win. I mean, this was a team that got beat up during the regular season. Nobody expected much of them. They just take care of business. They finished third in their district, and they're going to be playing for a state a right to play in the state championship against Refugio. I think Refugio will be the favorite in that game, but Joaquin has played fantastic, so you can't really bet against them. And they're up pretty much from the whistle against St. Augustine to take care of business, and they avenged that loss. I mean, Joaquin lost to St. Augustine in the regular season, and they won when it counted, and then Refugio just a dominant game over Mason. And then the only DFW team that we have left is Munster. And that game against Lindsay was 20-14 at one point. So Lindsay gave Munster everything they wanted.
That was a tight game there. What'd you think of that one, Kenny? Another big win for Munster over Lindsay there.
Which one on Munster?
Yeah.
Is Munster doing Munster things again? I mean, it seems like 4 years ago. They seem to be rolling again to get back to Jerry's world. So does that mean the basketball team, the baseball team are going to win state championships too this year?
Yeah, they're just going to have to wait for their players for a little bit longer. They're probably, I don't even know what their records are, but they're probably right around 500 in hoops because all their guys are out there playing the foosball.
And you want to talk, I mean, it's a little bit out of area, but that Mount Enterprise Bremond game, I was just watching those highlights come in, and it was like 50-30 at halftime. And then Bremond was able to make some halftime defensive adjustments. Keegan Ash, let's talk about a player who set the single season rushing record and is going to pass Jonathan Gray and potentially Kenneth Hall to be the all-time leading rusher in Texas high school football. That is a story. I hope Shiner is a tough team. Shiner beat Junction, but I would love to see Mount Enterprise make it to AT&T Stadium. But let's get a little Munster Mount Enterprise. I would love that game. I think that's a Thursday. That would be the Thursday 11 o'clock game. Would be phenomenal. I know you would love to get that on the airwaves because Keegan Ash is worth the price of admission.
Absolutely.
Just think how long Kenneth Hall has had that record. That is a long time.
That's been a long time, hasn't it? He broke it. Ant-Man says he broke it, so it's already broken. It's
already broken.
Yeah, you
love
got
the
it.
Ant-Man.
If I could compel you in the next 15 seconds, why don't you just flip back on over to X and Twitter? We got a dump, Ward. How about that?
He's got a dump coming, and he's probably going to preview some of the games tomorrow, which I hope some people go out to see. There's some good ones all over the place. So take a look at the dump. My man Diggsy's going to break it down from his head. He's going to spit from the brain, let you know what's going on, and we will talk to you guys later.